Welcome back to my channel, and today I am balancing a crankshaft assembly for another engine company. This is for a Vauxhall VXR, which I believe it's a drag car. So there's the crank. It's got a TTV trigger wheel on it, which with all TTV products the quality is amazing on that. So I've put the data into the machine, and what I'm going to do is run it up for the first time. So I'm going to hold the data. My customer likes a printed copy of all the corrections. So because it's lit up red on both planes, the crank is slightly out. I'm going to work on the front more, because you can see there's roughly 11 and a bit grams difference. So I'm going to bring this side down first, which is the front pulley side, and then I'm going to bring the flywheel side down once I've got this one closer to that. So first thing I've got to do is look to see whereabouts the out of balance is, which tells me here 45 degrees and 4 degrees, and we'll start to make a correction to it. So far I've got the front in, I've got that down to 3 now, so now I've got to work on the back of the crank, and that might even bring the front in a bit more. So to get the front in, I've drilled this hole here, and I've taken a little bit off here which I just need to polish slightly, and then I've started to just bring this end in a little bit as well. So I'm going to take a bit more off here, polish this straight away, and we'll see where we're at then on the crank. So that's the crank in. Because it's all lit up green, that's now within tolerance. So my next job is to change the settings on the machine, and I need to bolt on the front pulley and the flywheel. To get the crank corrected, I've polished it all now so it looks nice and neat. I just needed to trim a little bit off there. We've put a tiny little hole in the trigger wheel, and then just polished a bit off there as well. This end was the end that was quite a lot out. So next thing, like I say, is the flywheel and the front pulley, which I'm going to do next. Change the settings on the machine, bolt it up, and we'll see what that's like. So that's the VXR now completely finished. That's the end result for the crankshaft assembly. So that's the front pulley, the crank, the flywheel and the clutch. So we got that right down, because we had this around the 50s on the front pulley and the 40s I think on the clutch. So really happy with that. I've printed off my customers' sheets So he's got a record of it. All I've got left to do is polish the crank and then get it put back in the post and send it back to him. That's that job done, and we're on to the next. It's a job that turned up this week in its mini engine. This is for another YouTuber, so you could check out his channel. It's called Hyphen Classics. I will put a link for his channel in the description below, and give it a like if you could. But he's doing lots of modifications and bits and bobs on his mini. So this engine's come in for us to do some porting work, sort the bores out, stick it through the acid, and that's it. What I'm going to do first is acid bath this, strip the cylinder head, because I've got to gas flow the cylinder head, and just start to go through all the parts, clean up what bits we need and whatnot. So I'm going to prep this first. I'll get the core plugs out of this, see where the gallery bungs are, and we'll get that in the acid. So the customer has basically bought all the parts for it. The crank's in for a polish and a balance, so we're going to have to balance the crank only, because this is dual mass. This moves, so we won't be able to balance that. We've got to, hopefully the original factory balancing is good. It's using a super damper. I'm going to balance the clutch, and I'll tell you how I can do that in a sec. It's going to run standard pistons with ARP big end bolts, new set of rings, and the cylinder head is running Supertech valves, Supertech springs, titanium retainers. I've got to take some data for this cam, I don't know what it is. But yeah, like I say, this is all this stuff's been supplied by my customer, so I've just been laying it all out to work out what's what. I've got to gas flow the cylinder head, so he has provided me with 2 gaskets just there, an inlet and exhaust. So the first thing I'm going to do, now this engine stripped, cylinder head stripped, these are all the old valves and stem seals and springs. I'm going to put the inlet and exhaust gasket on and mark round to see where the gasket lies, and then try and work out where the bad parts for the flow are on this, and then port this. The block is over in the old workshop. That needs decking, so it'll have to come over here to be decked actually, and hone into size for the piston. So I'm going to measure all that. So what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to use this customer's flywheel, because he's gone for a solid flywheel, to balance that clutch and that clutch. So I know that there will be perfect. So I'm just machining Michael's block at the moment for his Mini. I honed the cylinders the other day, so they're looking nice, and I'm just making sure the block is decked flat. And we can see it's skimmed here, it's skimmed around here. This bit really isn't important because the cylinder head bolts along here, but it's low all the way round there. So I'm just going to switch the suds on, so it's going to get a little bit messy. I'm not going to record this, but I'll show you the end result of it. So the latest update on Michael's Mini engine, I've gapped the piston rings, washed all the bores out again, put some assembly lube in the bores just to help guide the rings in, and now what I'm doing is just I put the bore squirters in. I'm now just putting the main and big end bearings on, and then I'm going to go and balance the crankshaft assembly. But this is coming together. I've also got the ARP studs in, but we'll see a bit more of that when it gets a bit further on. So I'm just running Michael's Mini crank up on the balancer before I polish it, and really good news actually, this doesn't need anything doing to it. It's balanced like that, straight out of the box, as they say, so no correction needed. The only thing I could do, it's all green, so that's well within the standard that we work to, but if I wanted to be a bit finicky, I could bring this down a little bit more. But the back end of it, the flywheel side, is awesome. What I'll do is I'll just run it up to show you. So it builds its speed up to 800 RPM, and then when it reaches it then reads the crank, And that's that. So what I'm going to do with this now is take it over the road and polish the crankshaft journals and give it a measure up, and then that's a final wash, and it's going in the engine. So the mini crank has now been checked for balance, which it's okay. I've micro polished it, just taken it out the cleaner. So what I'm going to do now is just measure the journals just to make sure that they're within tolerance, and then we can get that in the engine. The bottom end is now all torqued up. The ARP big end bolts are stretched to 6 thou, which is equal to 28 foot-pound of torque. We've got standard bolts going through the main cap, so they're all torqued up, and yeah, and it's ready for the pickup pipe and sump now. So the next thing on Michael's W11 mini engine is to cut the valve seats. I gas flowed the cylinder head last night. I've cleaned all the gasket faces up. He's bought some Supertech valve train gear for it. So now I'm gonna 3-angle the seats. I've just done the first exhaust seat. The machine now is ready to do, in fact no it isn't, it hasn't centered. Take the machine out and self-central it again. The Centronic is now self-centralising. The computer will tell me once it's found its centre, like that. Then we lock the machine off, fit the Vera drive, and then where these mini seats are normally quite wide, it actually does put quite a nice bottom angle on. So what I'm watching for is the seating angle to be formed. And then it would just start to cut the top angle on as well. Like that. And then back it off. And then I need to put the Centronic back on its platform. Check the seat. What I'll do is I'm just going to give these a bit of a go with the carborundum paste as well, just to make sure. But the porting looks quite nice, and then once the seats are cut, that looks quite nice. The cleaning machine will clean the combustion chamber up. I've got rid of all the sharp edges and all the lumps and bumps in there. And then we've got to fit a new bolt kit into the rocker cover, which is supplied, and then just get the rest of the bits on. So that's 3-angle seats now on the inlet and the exhaust. So we're going to reface it now. That's it, all skimmed. That's had 0.006 of an inch off it. Looks pretty awesome. So that's going to go in the cleaner now while I prep a few more of his bits. So on the mini oil pump, I've taken it apart basically so I can make sure it's really clean, and that the oil pressure relief valve isn't stuck in the body of the oil pump. So what I'm going to do now is just make sure there's no burrs in there, make sure it's all nice and free flowing, and then with engine build lube rebuild the oil pump and then prime the gears with the engine build lube. That way, as soon as the engine is cranking, it's creating a vacuum, it'll suck the oil through and we won't get any no oil pressure on startup problems. So it's cleaned up really well. It was all tarnished with old oil before, so it's cleaned up nice and good. And yeah, we'll get this rebuilt now. Some I don't know. That's the mini head all bolted on, so we're going to put the
get there then. Well, about 2.5 months, all going well.
Quick job has come in for one of the local guys. It's a Ford Cosworth cylinder head, which this is a brand new engine, not built by us, built by another firm, and it's done nothing and the head gasket's gone straight away. So he's brought it in for a pressure test and a reface. The gasket went around here, but after cleaning the head face up to get it on the pressure tester, we found the fault straight away. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but this uses 6 long studs and 4 standard studs on the outside, and the long studs have got a shoulder on them. Well, either they've been machined wrong or they've not been fitted all the way in, and then the shoulder has actually marked the cylinder head on all of the holes apart from that one, or all of the stud holes. So I think what's happened is the cylinder head's been torqued up and then it hasn't got the right clamping force on the gasket because it's bottomed out on the shoulder of the stud. So what I'm going to do is just counter bore these 6 holes slightly to allow for the stud, and then give the head a reface, and that should be brand new. So this cylinder head looks like it's been skimmed incorrectly before because it's skimming all off this side. So that's the COSI cylinder head. Now it's out the cleaner. So I've just chamfered 5 of these holes which use the long stud. This one didn't show any evidence of causing a problem, so I haven't touched that. So yeah, I've done that, skimmed it. I also think that either the camshaft housings have been machined or the head had been machined slightly on the wonk before, because it took 0.03 of an inch more off this side than it did this side to get it to clean, and it looks like I can see where fly cutter has gone across the cylinder head. But anyway, that's all corrected now. So my customer's outside waiting for this, so I'm going to go and give it back to him and he can be on his way. First job that I'm doing today is I'm just trying to finish off a friend's Vauxhall XE, which is in a Nova. It's a 2-litre engine. This is the cylinder head that we've done for him. So this is using Kent cams, Kent buckets. We've put all new shims in there, which are these ones. That's what I'm doing at the moment actually. I'm setting the tappets, so these are little under bucket shims. So I've already done the inlet and I'm doing the exhaust. This engine is actually running, normally we cut the back off these Vauxhalls and the cam's shorter, but this is running all this side because it runs a cam sensor. The the Nova that it's going in is pretty trick actually. My friend's car, he's spent I think he said he's done 70 grand on it or something like that, 80 grand. The car's pretty spectacular. And then this is the engine which it's going on. With a bit of luck later today. So this has got a brand new pace dry sump kit. It's Arrow crankshaft, Arrow rods, Amiga pistons. We've done all it's got all special coated bearings in it, all balanced. So I've plasticined up inside the engine as well, because once I've set the valve clearances, I'm going to drop the cylinder head on, set the cam time in, turn the engine over by hand, take it back apart and then measure to see that we've got plenty of clearance. We've put a new water take-off elbow in it as well, new core plugs. It's all been through the acid, and we've honed it to get it on its top tolerance so it's nice and free. So that's what I'm doing today. So that's the other side of house, this cylinder head. This has got 1 mil bigger inlet, 1 mil bigger exhaust. I've equalised the combustion chamber on all 4 cylinders to get the compression ratio set right, so that's all done. He wanted an angled elbow fitted for his heater, so that's done. What I'm going to do now is drop it on the bottom end, set the cam time in, give it a turn over and see that we've got plenty of clearance. So I've set the cam timing on this to dummy build it, turned it over and measured my plasticine, and we've got plenty of clearance there. So we've got a little bit we can go each way with the cam timing. So I've torqued down the ARP studs now for the last time. The gasket's the right gasket. The head's going on now. So I'm going to just give it another quick blow off just to make sure there's nothing in it. And then carefully lower it onto the block. So what I've got to do now is fit the ARP nuts and the harden washers as well. So we're going to put ARP lube on both sides because we don't want it to pull and drag the aluminium, we just want it to pull correctly on the cylinder head. So I just use a magnet to get it on so I don't drop it all the way down. First one on. I've already put lube on the washer and on the thread, but I put just a tad little bit more on the bottom of the nut. And then just wind that in a couple of turns. Right, I'll get this cylinder head torqued down and then we'll go through the timing. So that's House's engine all done and he's here to collect it. So it's looking really good. I haven't really filmed too much of this to be fair, but I thought I'd show you the end result. So it's Arrow crank, Arrow rods, Omega pistons, Kent camshafts, all balanced, TTV flywheel, AP racing clutch, turbo sport verniers. It's got a timing belt insert with a SBD style tensioner, new water pump, 1 mil bigger REC valves, heavy duty Kent springs. It's got some special spring retainers in it which allow the spring to sit at a different installed height. Tappets are all mechanical, tappets all set. So this is going in House's Nova with a sequential box, so we'll get to see this being driven as well once it's out there on the circuit. It's got some posh titanium cam cover bolts in it. Yeah, it's looking really good. And then it's had the breather delete on it because it's dry sump, so the pump creates enough vacuum to not need to run the breather. And it's all been line honed, bored, balanced. We've completely ported the cylinder head in-house. And there we go. So an engine that I haven't filmed but I've got complete tonight, ready for collection tomorrow, is this Toyota Land Cruiser B diesel engine. My customer dropped it off actually a couple of years ago because the car's going through major restoration, so we've had it here and it's been on the back burner for a little while, but he needs it now, so we've got it done. This has got new liners, new pistons, I've polished the crank, rebuilt the oil pump, gone through all the gears. We've put a new water pump on. My customer supplied all the parts for this, So the only thing, well, we haven't got anything for it actually. He's supplied the water pump, the fan. He's had the diesel pump and the injectors redone. Andy and the boys at the body shop have done the rocker cover for us, which looks incredible. So this is ready to go now. All I've got to do is get it on a pallet because it's very, very heavy. He's coming over in a Luton van tomorrow, so we're going to strap it onto a pallet, get it all covered up nice so it can't get damaged, and then we reconditioned his flywheel, so I've got to bolt that on as well in the morning, and that's it. There's actually 2 little brackets here to bolt on. I'm not fitting this throttle body onto it, he can do that. But yeah, I'm really proud of that actually. It looks really good. We had some of the tin work powder coated, so the front cover, this intermediate plate, the sump, there's a tin plate on the back, that's all been powder coated, and then everything else has just been a lot of wire wheeling and painting. But I'm really chuffed with the outcome for saying what it looked like when it first come in. It looks fantastic. So yeah, that's that one done, and I'll film some more machining.